All right, FBA on the water. Nate, help me out. Episode 8, right?
Episode 8.
Episode 8. All right, let's go. Today we have our guest here, Ben, known as Lucrative FBA on Instagram.
Give him a
He's a family man running full-time Amazon here. So, yeah, there it is, Ben North right there.
North.
Appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, of course. Of course. We've been talking to each other for quite a few weeks now.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I know Zach and I are both veterans.
yep. Yeah. Been seeing a lot of that in the FBA community. A lot of veterans, even some active guys. One of our group chats,
Yeah.
some guy stationed at Fort Bragg, running a FBA business as well. I'm like, man, you got to be
Okay.
busy at one of the busiest units,
Hustling.
one of the busiest units in the United States, and he's also hustling FBA. So it's awesome to see.
Yeah, if somebody was set up though, like on a deployment, they could really, in a prep center, they could really,
Oh, yeah,
you end up with a lot of white space sometimes,
yeah,
especially
definitely.
lower enlisted.
Yeah, if you got the time and the Wi-Fi connection, which most places these days do have it, so there's opportunities to be seized.
Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been cool to be
May-
doing.
Maybe back in the day, man. Maybe there wasn't Wi-Fi always or
Yeah.
phone access.
Yeah, ours wasn't great. Ours
Yeah,
wasn't great when
yeah,
I was there, but we were kind of on the tail end too.
yeah.
Um, Oh, cool. So I've been selling on Amazon for a little over a year now. Went full time February 1st of this year.
hmm
Um, you said I'm a family man, got 3 kids, wife. Um, we have always done a lot of this together. I started out doing um, pre-Amazon. I was just doing Amazon, like eBay type flips, garage sale, Gary V type stuff. And my kids were always involved. We'd go to garage sales, we'd go to thrift stores, Goodwills, whatever.
Yep.
And we started out with like $100 and flipped those garage sale flips and everything to like $1,000 in a couple months. Kind of just playing around. And at the time, my brother was flipping more like hype stuff, like PS5s and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so he plugged me into some Discord groups and stuff like that. Um, did some prints, art prints, and shoes, and just like all the different little hype things.
Yeah.
But eventually, I came across Amazon. Some guys were doing pretty heavy RA within those same groups, and that's really kind of that was my first taste at Amazon. Well, a little before that, I got stuck with with a bad purchase, bad eBay flip, but they were moving on Amazon. So I opened up my Amazon account, sent them in, and they sold like pretty quickly. And I was like, all right, that was kind of easy.
Yeah,
Right.
it's doable. It's kind of
Yeah,
easy.
right. They didn't lose my inventory. It didn't get stolen. I didn't get charged back. Like,
Yeah.
it's legit to a degree. Like
Yep.
there's more to this.
Yep.
So I started hitting the Walmart clearance aisles, Target clearance aisles, Ross and TJ Maxx, doing all those. Um, Found a little success. Found some headaches too. Buying
Mm.
clearance, like not knowing that stuff had been opened before or
Yeah.
whatever.
So you are mainly RA now, driving to the Ross, TJ Maxx, and all that.
Yeah. At that point in time, I was trying to get a feel for it, and like listening to some of the folks out there, they were saying, that's a good place to get started. And honestly, it is. Like you start seeing a lot of different brands, you start like exposing yourself to a lot of different categories.
Yeah.
But it is hard to scale, and where
Right.
the money is really made is not in those clearance aisles. It's made in the main aisles and arbitrage and the bundles and things like that.
Yeah.
But I never had the discipline or the combination of the time to go and spend a full day scanning, 3 aisles at Target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ben, I wanted to ask, where are you from and like what's your environment like? Do you have a lot
so
of stores near you or is it
no,
just
I'm in South Louisiana. At the time, I was working in Baton Rouge.
Mm.
So I was commuting back and forth from my home about 45 minutes to an hour um, when I first kind of got started. So I was passing a lot of stores. So I would make it a point, like I passed 2 Targets, I passed 3 Walmarts. I would stop in pretty regularly on those. Um, and I really kind of started like pushing the e-commerce um, volume with chlorine during
Yeah.
COVID, and like I was the chlorine guy for a little while. Um, I was hitting every Walmart at like 6 a.m. I had like a five or six of them outlined that I would map out, and I'd hit them all. Um, and did pretty well with that. Was able to get some capital together, and that's really when I started looking into getting out of RA. I drive a full size truck. It's not RA friendly.
The miles on the truck and the gas.
Yeah,
And
and fuel costs and all those things. So started kind of looking at some other options and started really diving into OA. Of course, Miles, Warner, Chris Grant, those guys
huge.
really kind of led me towards um, the possibility of that. And initially, I really just I leaned into like TA and utilizing those types of softwares to find my leads. And early on, I had some good success, but I also ran into a lot of trouble with those TA leads. If y'all messed around with TA, like if it's easy for you to find, it's pretty easy for everyone else to find too.
That's true.
And if you're doing generic scans at like Target, you might get lucky and get a few. I remember I had these tennis balls. They were like one of my first finds, and I bought like a dozen of them or so. Sent them in. They flew. I went to replant them, and like as soon as they checked in, it was just like brick city.
Yeah.
It was
So
done. I was like, all right, there's more
so
to this.
painful.
Yeah, you can't just find it. You gotta really understand it a little bit.
Yeah.
So a lot of lessons learned across the last year or so. I know I talked with Nate a bit the other day, leading up to kind of this point and meeting you guys. I was really doing a lot of just one-off finds, a lot of clearance sales, all OA, but like I was adding like 50 new ASINs a week.
Oh wow.
Not doing like any replens. And so a few months back, it was just like, man, I've got this huge dead pile of inventory. I've got my storage fees are building up. And it forced me to really look at my numbers and figure out like, all right, this is what's working, this isn't, and this is what is been scalable. Like this is what I can still find on the market, like is not a one-off clearance item or a discontinued item. I've had a lot of success with discontinued items, but those are just like really hard to find and they're really hard to keep up with. And so it's just getting away from all of that, kind of refocusing. At this point in time, I'm like 95% clothing and apparel. And I've really been enjoying that. I mean, you have a lot of different places that you can source from, a lot of different options there, a lot of different brands. Yeah, tons of variations.
Yeah.
And, for a long time too, I avoided variations. They were kind of scary, but it was interesting. Chris Grant did a podcast just on that. And one day I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I've just kind of like ran with it and accepted that, like he basically was just saying like the rating percentage, the higher the rating percentage, the more volume that listing inside of there gets. So I've just kind of had been running with that for a while.
Yeah.
And then, when I stopped and looked back at all that, all those things really were coming to truth. It was like, all right, these shoes and these t-shirts and these coats and these types of things, these are working really well for you. The volume's there, the pricing maintains, the ROI works for your business. And so I spent about like 6 weeks not buying anything at all, and really just kind of went
Taking
out
it.
on faith and clearanced my entire store, and kind of started from scratch from there. And we've been building back since. Um, this month, uh, will be a pretty good month for us, especially profit wise. Um, I'm not putting up as big of numbers I would have liked, but profits what matter anyway. So
That's all
Yep.
that matters at the end of the month, you know?
yeah, so we're gonna be happy with that, and then next month I'm pretty teed up. I'm gonna knock it out of the park. I'm confident on that.
Here we go. Let's go.
Yeah. So
Nice.
So Ben, when you first looked back and like checked over your numbers and like your whole inventory list, how far long ago was that? And do you have like a plan to kind of do that every quarter now or every couple weeks?
yeah, so that was like 6 months in. I
Okay.
had hired and I'm not gonna like I had hired an accounting group via Discord, um, and they weren't really keeping up with my books the way
Hmm.
I would have liked to. Um, and that was on me too. I wasn't checking in, I wasn't forcing anything, and I wasn't pushing the envelope either. So it forced me to sit down, really review all of my accounting, review a lot of things, and it revealed a lot of things to me. My prep center was charging a lot more than I
Hmm.
thought they were. Uh,
Yep.
the timeline for that prep center was a lot worse than I'd really given given knowledge or given credit to. And not just them, not just what they were doing, but also just the fulfillment center. I'll loud cap them, SMF3. They were awful, slow. We
Uh,
missed a lot of stuff. Um, but so it's been good. I switched to somebody on the East Coast. I got a new accountant that's local, that's a friend to me, family to me.
Good.
And she takes care of everything. She gives me monthly reports that are just they're broken down Barney style. I understand them. It's
Nice, nice. Yeah.
and so with those reportings and then using Inventory Lab, I've just been forcing myself to look at those numbers, to be more in tune with those numbers,
Hmm.
and to give credit to those numbers too. If something's selling, like continue to replen it, and continue to push it until it's not. Man, and I think like I was on the right track early on. I had bought some perfumes, some hazmat items.
Hmm.
Um, and they were flying, and I had gotten like 80 of them sent in or so, and at Amazon suppressed the listing, and
Ah,
I've still got like 30 of them.
no.
Like so it's it pushed me off of replens, but like it was just like understanding brands now, looking and being more wise about those brands. This was a Target brand that I was selling. Um, so it was kind of bound to happen. Um, and you live and you learn. So we're here,
Yeah.
we're here now. So
Yeah, for
we're
sure.
gonna keep pushing it.
For sure. So with and you talked about like knowing your numbers and you got your accountant and your inventory labs and you kind of digest that every month, but like the importance I feel like of hitting those numbers and really getting to know them, especially with you doing this full time. Like I seen a post on Instagram like recently within the last couple weeks, and it was like your cash flow management switching from doing it as a side hustle to doing it as full time. Like you need to have that dialed down to a T.
Yeah, it's
And
it's so different. You tend to overlook so many things. I the job I had before this, I worked for a family construction company, remodeling company.
Hmm.
We did bathroom remodels. I started out there as an installer, kind of moved up through the ranks, and ended there as a kind of a general manager, overlooking operations, sales, our call center, everything. Um, and I had a good job. I had a good income there. And I also, it was a family company, my family. And we, they gave me a lot of flexibility. They gave me a lot of grace.
Mm.
And, I'm super grateful for that. Like I could, I was able to show up at 8:30 after picking up 60 bins of chlorine that morning. And um, at the same time I would go and pick up new boxes from the box shop at lunch, and
Yep.
Yeah.
be boxing stuff up on the back of my truck as I was leaving for the day so I could hit USPS on the way out.
Yeah.
Like they just gave me a lot of grace. They gave me a lot of flexibility. And they also, like I learned a lot of lessons, how to talk to people, sales, business lessons on their dime.
Yeah.
So super grateful for those opportunities too. But you're right. Being able, you got to be familiar with those numbers, but you tend to be much more forgiving with those numbers whenever you have another income.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely. That's
And
Right.
and also like if you're going to continue to try and push scale, when I left my job, it was kind of a situation where I had told them, hey, I do want to leave. And they were like, all right, we're going to start looking for somebody. And then when it happened, we were both kind of like, oh crap, we're not quite ready for you to leave, and you're not quite ready. So, I mean, we ended up like extending that leave date for like another 2 months, but
Mm.
like so much happened leading up to that. Like the month before I was supposed to leave, our air conditioner went out on the house, and had to replace that. And then the wife's car messed up. It's just like all these different things, like your nest egg, your cushion,
Yeah.
just like it dwindled just like right off the bat, like
Oh man.
month one. And
yeah.
so we had a lot of fears, just getting started. And but at this day and time, we're super grateful. We learned a lot. Um, I've talked about it a few times, like on my Instagram, putting life over numbers, and that kind of thought process has really changed how I've structured my business. I really prioritize a good prep center, and I've been working with a good set of VAs to
Mm.
try and free up myself as much as I can, because at the end of the day, my wife and kids, they don't really care about yellow bars.
Right.
You
Yeah. I
know,
mean, I see you posting all the time, like spending time with the kids, whether
Yeah.
you're at a
yeah,
soccer
it's
game.
I've really tried to make that my priority. At the beginning of this year, prior to leaving out and saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this full time," I had these, ideas of big, grandiose numbers, and
Yeah.
um, it was like month two. My wife and kids, they were like, you work like we thought you're home all the time, but you're not here.
Yeah.
Like you're upstairs, you're in your cave working. You're not. And so like it it forced me to restructure some things and rethink what was most important
Yeah.
in the long run. So it's slowed down how much we've scaled a little bit, but I think in the end, like we've been a lot happier with
Yeah. Yeah.
the direction
Absolutely.
things are going.
Yeah. And your ability to keep growing and scaling, what like yeah, you had those grand numbers in your mind when you first started full time. Like they're still possible if you
Oh, absolutely,
keep
absolutely. They're
compounding and
just a
chipping
few
away.
months further out, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's nothing to it.
Like
Very content with where I'm at right now.
Yeah, 100%.
and
It's like
like for
this.
everyone too, like it's not like there's no like finish line really. It's like you can keep scaling and scaling and it could take like it's like anything. It's like going to college or something. It could take 4 years or it could take 12 years. Like at the end of the day, you graduate and there you go. But like
Yeah.
with business, it's like you can just keep going forever. And like if you're happy with where you are,
Right,
like
right.
then what the hell? Like why
Yeah.
compare yourself with other people or like whatever, you know?
Yeah, and if you don't want to like really scale and you want to just do all the work yourself and make 4 or 5 grand a month, like that's totally doable. Like if you that's
I think that's one of the beauties of Amazon. It's not really talked about enough. I think a lot more people should take advantage of it and look at it to be like a $3,000 to $5,000 a month profit supplement.
Yeah.
It's very doable for a lot of people that have 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's like that's your mortgage. Like
yeah,
for
like
people, like
that does a lot. That's a new vehicle, nicer vehicle, a
Yeah.
nicer house, whatever. That's a lot of things for a lot of people.
yeah.
Not everybody needs to look at it as a full-time gig.
No.
Or like scale the Amazon lit numbers. Like it's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
no, not
Right.
everyone needs to be that crazy. But I mean, looking at his numbers, man, it's Nate.
It's encouraging. I mean, it's
Yeah.
inspiring. I've always been, a fan of competition. That's market proof.
Yeah.
That lets you know that if they can do it, you can do it, or you can capture a portion of it, you can do it better, whatever it might be. So
Or
I don't, there's been a lot of talk about, and since I've started and before, that there's too much market saturation.
Mm.
And I mean, we're all making money.
yeah, dude, that's one thing that I'm like, I'll never get behind someone who's saying that FBA is not a profitable business model right now because Amazon fees are too high or something like that. Like people who say that, I just feel like they're just like the naysayers, like
I mean, they are too high. They're higher than I want them to be. They're
clear.
higher than I want. They went
True.
up like 25% in the last year.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's went up a lot, but all in all, there's still absolutely, you can raise your prices.
There's
Just
still money to be made. And that's what I think they're gonna like long term if they do continue to like really push the third party sellers and increase their fees, like merchandise is just gonna cost people more.
yeah.
Like that's like because people
But
aren't gonna take less profit, it's like they're
right.
like, okay, Amazon, you want more money? We want more money too. We're gonna start selling our sweatshirts higher and stuff. Or
Yeah.
whatever you're selling.
Yeah, and I think that I think you'll continue to see more and more OA sellers shift into private label and wholesale and more quote unquote stable um, plans. Um, but we'll see. We'll see as time goes on.
Have you dabbled with any wholesale or private label ideas at all?
You know, my ego wants to do private label. I do. That's something that has been on my mind. I don't have an idea for it at all, but I want to try it.
Yeah.
It's a little more
Risky.
romantic. Yeah, it's riskier,
Risky.
definitely. But like, I like the idea of doing SEO and
Mm.
running brand content and things like that. Um, but and then wholesale. As far as dabbling in it, I do have a wholesale account with a local grocer. My father was a restaurateur, and
Hmm.
um, so through his legacy, I plugged in with the grocer that he used to use.
Mm.
Um, and honestly, I've never ordered from him. It's a bit intimidating, the way the catalog is set up and the way the lower margins that you kind of have to take,
Right.
plus combined with the larger buy cost. They want you to buy X amount of dollars of a particular product or a certain number. Like the test buy just gets way more. Um, and then combine that with the lower margins. I've just not been in a place in my business where I was able to say, yeah, I can take 15% over when there's products I know I can get at 30.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's happened to me, like not like I it's honestly like an open book still, but Zach and I were talking with a a wholesaler that did Nike products.
yeah,
Um, I posted about it on my Instagram story probably like
I
3
remember
weeks
that. Yeah.
ago, and it was honestly kind of like a sketchy situation. We were talking over Facebook Messenger, and
Yeah.
we were just like, "What's your minimum order? Like, can we come look at the products? Like, we need to know if they're legitimate or not." Because so, long story short, they were like an offshore supplier of Nike, where they would get the product here and then ship it to Asia or wherever. And They wanted us to pay cash, and they wanted us like a minimum order of like $5,000,
Yeah.
and then like the communication kind of just dwindled to nothing. And I was like, can we set up a time to meet? Like, hello, hello, hello. So
Mhm.
like I I think it's probably a good thing we never like.
That sounds a little sus.
Yeah, it was definitely
Yeah.
sus. Like the
Yeah.
only pluses are I did get their location. It is like a legitimate like warehouse that I've driven by before. The all the minuses are like this company's website is all in Chinese or some Asian language. I'm pretty sure it's Chinese,
Yeah.
and they wanted cash, and it was
Nice. Yeah.
Amazon is not a cash business. Like
no,
No.
it's documentation, all the stuff. But
yeah, exactly.
yeah, well, you got a contact though. I'm meeting with a wholesale grocer on Monday, hopefully.
Okay.
I sent Happy Thanksgiving to the rep, so
What do you say back?
nothing. But yeah, no, he seemed excited to like meet up, and I don't know if it's just like his work phone, he had it off or whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to be positive about it, but
Yeah. Do you do a
Hopefully,
lot of grocery now? Or is it something you're
some
looking to
that was
expand
like
it?
my first items were
Okay.
grocery, and then I kind of just do a little bit of everything now. Like someone hit me up on Instagram recently, like this past week, and was like, "What main categories do you sell?" And I was like, "Dude, like anything. Like
Yeah.
I got apparel, um, health products, like I don't know, like deodorants, toothpaste, whatever."
I did that for a long time, man. I bounced around between a lot of different categories.
Yeah.
If the chart made sense, I would buy it.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's pretty much what I said. I'm like, if
yeah.
something's profitable and you're ungated, then go test it
Yeah.
out. And then after you test it out a few times and it works, then go crazy, do whatever you want.
Right. Just,
Whatever
yeah,
makes
just don't do what I did, not
yeah.
track it and
Yeah.
not look back
Yeah.
at it.
I mean, yeah, I had a big mistake this past month. Like it's not gonna end up being too bad, but it's
Yeah.
like where the profits looked so good and then they slowly started looking less and less good. And now it's like, okay, I'm like around break even.
Right. Right.
And I bought too much of it, so
I used to hit grocery really hard. Whenever I did my own prep, it was one of my main categories. Um, I sold a lot of coffee. Um,
mm,
yeah.
yeah,
I've
and
sold
was able to replenish it easily. Um, it was good. But whenever I switched to the prep center, it seems like the prep center, the fees on bundles and things like that,
yeah.
made a lot of it not profitable.
Yeah, that's one
right.
thing. I'm definitely gonna like most of my stuff. Like I say I want to be like 90% prep center, 10% not. And that
Yeah,
10% is just gonna be any bundles that I've been like replenning since I started. Because I've had some like I can still replen now and make good profits on it. But it's a bundle. So if I send it to a prep center, that brings my margin from 30 down to like 10.
right.
And like I'm not gonna do that. Like I'm just gonna keep prepping at the house. Like I still have some time, but to scale to like a 6 figure a month thing, like it's not realistic in the basement here, like in my cave. Like
Right. So Nate, I know you've talked about hoping to go full time in the future. Zach, is that your ambition as well?
yeah, I mean I've definitely like I talked to my so I work for my dad, like a family business kind of like similar to yours.
Nice.
Not similar, it wasn't construction. They're a medical device company, but
Okay.
still um family business. Like I want to be plugged in and he wants me to be plugged in. And I definitely still find it interesting. Like I'm a design engineer, so I'm on CAD on my computer every day. And that is also like I can take advantage of that because when we're slow with design work, then plug in a TA scan and start going through it. Like, it's like I still have opportunity to do some of the business while I'm at work when it makes sense to, not when it doesn't make sense to.
Yeah.
But it's like the prepping when you get home at 6 o'clock at night, and it's like, dude, like I've been up since 6:30, and it's like I'm not going to bed till midnight tonight.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff that I need to start figuring out. But yeah, I don't think I have any ambitions to go full time. I want to make like a full time income from it while doing it part time, hopefully, with the help
Mhm.
of a prep center and VAs. And
Yeah.
but to unplug from the business, I like morally, I don't want to do that. Like I like it, and I know that
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
yeah. There I mean the one reason would to not to would be for health insurance, but
Yeah,
I got the TRICARE anyway, so it's like I just got to
I,
go to
I
drill
do
once a month and do
I
my
do miss the TRICARE.
yeah. That's what I'm talking to my grand. Yeah, never mind. Forget about it.
Uh,
That's way off topic for another time. For another time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So question for you, Ben. How was like the like getting the wife on board, and how was she initially to the whole like reselling and then
Yeah.
going?
My wife has always been super ride or die.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, pretty early on our relationship, I remember us having a heated conversation. I've always been somewhat of an entrepreneur. I've always been like looking for a thing. I've always been trying to kind of advance career wise. And, we talked at one point and I was like, you can either get with me or get behind me. And she she broke down. She was like, I've always been with you. And she always has been. Like she's always been my biggest cheerleader. She always pushes me to try and get better, be better. She has no problem in investing her own time into prepping or whatever it might be. She's about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
whatever it takes.
that's huge. Then I asked that because I feel like from like your standpoint with the three kids and the wife and you got to put
Yeah, I
you
mean,
got to put a
she
roof over
was
the head. Sorry.
definitely scared. She was definitely scared. We both were. I mean, it
Yeah.
was something going out into something very new.
yeah.
Um, but we've been together. Today's our anniversary, actually. 11 years.
Hey.
11 years married. Um, but we've been together for 16 years now. We've known each other and been together longer than we haven't been. Uh,
Wow.
so we've always leaned on each other really hard. We've been through a lot of ups and downs, deployments and hurricanes, and a lot of crazy stuff.
Oh
Mm.
Uh,
yeah. Yeah.
so at the end of the day, when we look back at it, this is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, happy anniversary. I mean,
thank
Yeah.
you, thank you.
Yeah. Congrats.
Uh,
yeah. I just yeah, I feel like that's a big like pill to swallow and just decision to make in general. So I like to hear what people's like
Well, and I
significant.
think a lot of people's, I had kids young, which forced my career, which forced her career. Like
Mm.
we had to grow up fast to some degree, and so I think a lot of people don't take that risk. But it was like the month leading up to me leaving, I read 7 hour work week. Is it 7 hour work week? 4 hour work week?
4 hour. Yeah.
4 hour work week. And
Yeah.
one of the big takeaways I just took from that is like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, worst case scenario, I miss a couple mortgage payments. They're not going to take my house away for a while. And I have to go back and like get a job. I can go sell cars. I can
Yeah.
go like, there's just so many different things I can do. Um, and it's still not that bad.
Yeah.
Uh, you
Yeah.
know, so it felt like the right thing to do. I wasn't miserable at my last job, but I definitely wasn't happy.
Mm.
Uh, I just felt like I was leaving a lot on the table. I was putting a lot of hours in, and not that I wasn't paid well, but I just wasn't getting paid owner money, and I was doing
Right.
a lot of owner level work.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to, and then I've always wanted to see what it was about. you know I wanted
Yeah.
to have that freedom, but also it requires a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
you know
Traveling into the unknown is
yeah,
never an easy thing to do, but
and there's a lot of days you wake up and you don't want to source, and there's no boss telling you have to source.
yeah.
And
On
the
you.
right, I can get the kids to run the boxes up the stairs, and then there's nobody complaining about boxes either. Uh, so like there you could make a lot of excuses. Um, but
Mm.
at the same time, it gives you the type of freedom that you can mark at midnight. You can. I tend to get up really early. I get up at like 4:30, and most days I'm done by like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. And
Yeah.
I have most of my day left to me. I might check repricing or check something later on in the afternoon or evening, but for the most part, I get the bulk of my work done before anybody else wakes up in the house.
Yeah. I
That's
wanted to ask, like, how many hours would you say you like work a week? Work.
Yeah, so flexible means that you work all the time.
Right.
Uh, I was talking to a friend of mine this morning. I was sitting there yesterday watching the World Cup game. My
Hmm.
son's, laying on my lap, and I'm sitting there putting in new FBM listings.
Mm.
So working, but at the same time, not really.
Right.
yeah.
I would say that I spend most of my time doing that. Hard at it, sitting in front of my computer, just me, probably 20 hours a week.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of prep. Um, I do a fair amount of FBM, but I do a lot of high dollar shoes.
Mm.
And so when I say I do a lot, I mean, it's still like 8 to 10 orders a day.
Yeah.
Uh,
So really not that much time. Like,
Yeah, like the time's not really there, and it's a lot of like similar or same ASIN. So I'm printing, 5 labels at a time or 4 labels at a time for the same thing,
Yeah.
packing
yeah.
up the same item. Um,
Yeah. Same box size, same weight, same
yeah,
size.
it's
So
so streamlined and easy.
Right.
Um, so I'm gonna do a lot more of that going into this month. I did make the mistake. I say mistake. We have a vacation scheduled. We're gonna be gone for Christmas this year, and I think I probably should have pushed that off into January after talking to some folks and then really like looking back at Keepa charts and going, oh man, it's
yeah.
still hitting January, like it's still
Yeah.
hitting through those days, but um
Yeah. It seems like that after that first week of January, stuff starts to kind of like rebound and level
yeah.
up to the norm where like that.
And
Mhm.
I remember that about last year. Last year I was really just chasing bolos. I hit the Magic Mixies really hard. That was really like my proof of concept. I
Mhm.
sold like 80 in 4 hours or something ridiculous. Um, and so that's just kind of been, we've been holding on to that since day one, knowing the volume, knowing the potential. And so we're always looking for new stuff. But at that time, we were just chasing bolos, um, had done the mixies, and so I didn't have anything really planned for December. And then
Yeah.
also, I got kicked off of that listing. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so I was like, I think I had like 50 of them still sitting at the house when I got kicked off the listing.
Oh man.
Um,
Yeah.
Have you come into any like IP complaints or other
yeah,
complaints before?
yeah. So like I said, like when I was first starting out, I just kind of sold everything. I wasn't giving enough credit to like the size of the brand and kind of the history of that brand. Not so much like I wouldn't ignore IP alerts or anything like that, but as a rule of thumb now, like I don't sell a cosmetic brand I've never heard of.
Mm.
I've just ran into too many situations where they pop up and either create an issue with Amazon or they go ahead and send that cease and desist letter. Um, but and just across the board, I try not to sell anything that I just haven't heard of. If I haven't heard of
Right.
the brand, like it's just
It's normally bad news, right? Like,
yeah. Well, and like that's not all true. I mean, like we've all had success with really small brands too.
Yeah. Right.
yeah, definitely.
But just where I'm at right now, where I'm getting away from. I have ran into IP claims. I've ran into inauthentic claims, and like I've bought stuff off of Facebook. I've bought stuff off of eBay. Like I just haven't always been that um, risk avoidance.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. But you learn through experience, like
Yeah. Well, I come from that eBay background where it's just like do whatever, make it work. And Walmart has kind of been that way too. It's just, anything and everything.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So end of the year is coming up. What do you have any goals or things you want to change in your business for next year?
um, yeah. So my biggest thing right now is I've got a lot of inventory. I've got a lot of dead inventory, stuff that needs to be put on both eBay and Walmart. But I'd like to clear out all of my inventory, really go into next year fresh, and then take the capital from December and, maybe, you know, going to try and really streamline those numbers of ASINs. I've still got like 200 ASINs at this time. So I'd like to stream down and get it under 100 or so. And
200 active ASINs right now?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
So I'd really like to streamline that, clean it up, and get back to, a more replenishable based business.
Yeah.
So get rid of inventory and again, just kind of do another reorg after the first of the year.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, good stuff. Dak, you got any other questions?
Yeah, I've been trying to think. I don't off the top of my head right now. I don't think I got anything.
I got a question or something we could just expand upon. So both of you are veterans. So maybe speaking to like a listener that might be a veteran, like what are some things that could kind of give you a tactical advantage over someone who's not a veteran?
Yeah. I haven't found a ton of success utilizing the military discounts, which is fairly disappointing, considering. But we do have access to a few retailers and outlets that are veteran only, that are tax exempt. They're hard to source though, and
Yeah, definitely.
they're hard to scale also. But it's get with other veterans, talk with other veterans that are doing it, that are selling. There are some discounts and sales that make sense to utilize those military discounts, and it's just too much for you to try and keep up with them all. There's a lot of them that are active at all times, but maybe aren't great unless there's an ongoing sale or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say tread lightly with that too. Like you don't want to abuse it.
Yeah.
To the point where you get your discount taken away or kicked off a site or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can use it. I'm not telling you not to or whatever. Like, who am I to tell you not to anyway? Like,
it's almost, in most cases, I've found that they have so many exclusions that it's almost better to either use a coupon that they have ongoing or wait until they have a sale.
Yeah.
Because the discounts will be better. Like the vast majority of them are full price items only, and like 10 or 15% off a full price item.
Yeah, just wait till the store goes 25%, and then boom, you're got a better deal right there.
True.
So that 10-15% really isn't going to get you like a
And then a lot of them, like I'll speak on Nike specifically. Like if you use your military discount, then you can't get cash back.
That, and you can only use the military discount up to $500. So if you're making an order of like $1,000, then they're only going to take 10% off of 500.
And then you can only use it like once a month or something like that. I don't know.
It's limited. I used it like maybe once or twice when I was first going.
Same.
I thought it was gonna be gold. I'm like, man, I hit the gold. I hit the jackpot with this.
The one I thought that was gonna be gold was that like Adidas 40% off or something like that, but it's not it.
No, it's not, man. You just gotta wait till something else comes, because Amazon's on every Adidas listing anyway for the most part.
Yeah.
So you gotta find the ones that they're either out of stock on or looks like they go out of stock pretty regularly.
How about like is there any softwares out there that have given you guys like a veteran discount or anything? Have you noticed anything like that?
You know,
Tactical arbitrage will give you a 10% a month.
There
okay.
you go.
So I mean, if you're not
I,
using it,
I didn't know that.
yeah, if you hit up their support and just let them know. I noticed it when I got my free trial and I scrolled down to like military discount and it said after you subscribe, contact support for military discount. So
I think most of the benefits are probably in the realm of banking.
Mm,
Uh, there
yeah,
are some, you know, accounts you can get that are, maybe don't have limits, don't have fees, credit cards that don't have initiation fees and stuff like that.
okay.
Uh, that's that's been the primary advantage, I'd say.
Yeah.
what credit cards would be?
Amex Platinum,
Oh,
they waive,
yeah, yeah,
they waive the fees.
yeah.
Um, Chase, they waive your business checking fees and your I think your minimums as well,
Mm,
your monthly minimums. Um, so I mean, stuff that's fairly important when you're first getting started, low
Yeah.
capital.
Yeah, you
Uh,
gotta save you gotta be kind of nickel and dimey when you first,
yeah,
especially when you're first starting out. Like,
yeah.
yeah, and I wish I would have done more of that. I started out when I first got started, I went pretty software heavy. Um,
yeah,
it was hitting. I had TA, I had tactical bucket, tactical expander,
Mm.
uh, all great. All good tools, but like you can get real heavy, subscription heavy,
Yeah.
yeah,
and
yeah. Before you know it, you'll be looking at a $500 a month bill just on
yeah, I
your.
remember like right after I did it too. Like I had a buddy who's like, "Hey, you want to split that?" I was like, "Man, you could split that." Like, that'd have been a good idea.
Yeah,
Um, so no, it's been an adventure getting here. The last 9, 10 months have really been a lot of up and down, but I'm really excited going into this next year.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Like,
I'm I'm really trying to do more Instagram and networking like that. That's been good. I really tried to do things on my own for a long time.
yeah. That networking is so slept on. Like,
It really is. I mean, the number of people that text me or message me, uh, even just like if it's not just a straight up like, hey, here's this lead, it'll be like this place is having a sale, go check this out.
yeah.
yeah,
Like that's really valuable if you don't know where to start. And some days are just like that. You just don't know where to start. Your email's dry. You didn't get tipped off on anything, and then somebody throws you that bone for a site you've never heard of or whatever, and you're
yeah.
you're back in it.
And
You
you're in the game full
gotta love
swing.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta love it. So
It's
been
like
super.
early morning. You're sitting at your laptop, like, man, I don't even know how I'm gonna spend money today. And then someone sends you something, and it's like, holy smokes, dude, I could spend like 10 grand a day if I had it.
Right now you got that rabbit trail and you just on
Yeah,
it. And
yeah,
so
yeah. It's hard to keep up with. Sometimes I notice, like, I'm out here like prepping all the stuff, and I'm like, wow, I got like 10 Instagram DMs. Like, go through and answer
I
them.
don't I don't know the guys that do it really heavy. I'm still trying to grasp it. Uh,
Oh, guys like Miles,
yeah,
they got VAs running their Insta.
yeah,
Like, I mean. I was talking to one of his VAs once and he texted me like the next day. He's like, he sent me a voice message. He's like, hey dude, sorry, that was my VA. Like,
that
I was like, all right, dude, whatever.
Hey, it
makes
works.
But yeah, it's definitely, you got to outsource a lot of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like
I guess
time
so.
is just so valuable,
It
It
really,
is, and I mean you just the prep center gives you back so much time, and then the VA, VAs, it takes a lot of time investment on the front end trying to train them and get them to where you want them. But once they're
Mhm.
solid, even if they don't give you exactly what you want, a lot of times they get the trail started. And I would often take my VA's leads and try and push it one more, push it another level. Just try and get it a little further away from that TA search or wherever they might have scraped it from. I've had good success with that. Tried a lot of different things. Going through a lot of those things, I've been ungated in so many different brands and um, so many different categories. It's opened up a lot of opportunities along the way. I can, if something else goes on sale again, I've been able to replenish it.
Yeah, definitely. When you're first starting, the whole ungating adventure seems like it's like the ultimate barrier to entry, but now it's like I feel like I'm ungated in so much stuff. It's like there's not even enough to like
It's
capture.
gotten easy to, and some brands are easier than others too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But it's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
So Ben, if you had one piece of advice to give to someone maybe in your type of situation, they're, a father, they have kids, they might be working a job that they like and it pays well, but like it's not exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
Like what would you tell them to do to like get started?
Just do that. Just get started. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's you have to test the waters. My wife and I have always said that we're both feet in. We don't test the waters on a lot of stuff. Once we, with Amazon specifically, once we kind of got a taste for it, we really went all in. And we've been all in since day one. But for anyone that's just doubting it, or doubting what they're doing, like just go ahead and start something. Start your own business, selling, snow cones or whatever that makes you happy. But if you're not happy, if you're not making the income you want, you've got to try and do something different. But in the Amazon space, there's just nothing really stopping you from getting started. FBM a couple items, try it out right now, and even going into Q1, there's a lot of opportunity for seasonal stuff. Just get out and do it. It can. I didn't know this is what I wanted for my life. I didn't know that I wanted to work from home. I didn't know that I wanted to be with my wife and kids for the long, leading up to this. I had all my friends and family saying, y'all are going to drive each other crazy. And I believed them to a degree, but at this day and time, I can tell you, like, this is exactly what we've always wanted. And so I would have never known that had I not stepped out. And, I had a few businesses leading up to this that I tried out that didn't work out and would have been so vastly different than this. So, you don't know unless you try. So I think you just got to get out there and fail.
Yep.
And so that's it.
Yeah. Even you saying you didn't know you wanted it, like that was like probably a year ago or something you were saying that. So 10 years from now, who knows what you're going to be saying then about,
Yeah.
Hopefully all good things, obviously, but be optimistic as possible here, but
mostly good things at least.
Yeah, mostly good things. You don't know what you don't know. Just dive in, get going, and figure it out.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And like there's a guy I was talking to on Discord. I sent a long message to this kid. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him, but I was on the thread and he was like down in the dumps because like he was kind of sold that this was going to be like a get rich quick thing, or like you're going to make a shit ton of money, like
Yeah,
you're going to have to do
passive
no
income.
work, passive income. And it's like, no, like the level of like money you make is going to be determined on the level of effort you put in and the level of drive you have and how much time you want to spend. And then once you like get through that mud, then you have those systems in place where like you've been, like you have a couple of VAs, you have a prep center, you're not doing all this time consuming work, but you're still pulling high 5 figure months every single month where you can live on your own terms.
Right.
And to you, that is success to like a high degree. And some people are like, I want to make like 500,000 a month. It's like, well, you have to do what it takes to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any Amazon seller doing 6 figures is they're putting in the work. Like 6 figure months, like you're getting stuff done. And
they've put in the time. More importantly, I think.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Amazon is such a compounding thing. It's the more time in, the more you get out of it.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. And I mean, like, it just doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Like we can say like if you buy more, you're gonna sell more. Like to a degree, yes. But you also have to know like what to buy, how much of what to buy, and like be able to strategize that in a way where you don't fuck yourself. Like if you don't come up if you come up short for your bills, like there's so many factors and variables. Like if you just take it one step at a time, one day at a time, like you can get there. It just takes time. That's all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get out there and network too, and you'll get that proof of concept under your
Yeah,
belt pretty quick.
Yeah.
yeah.
100%.
I think this is a good spot to wrap it up. What do you guys think?
Yeah. We're coming up on that, coming up on an hour. So yeah, I mean,
Sweet.
I
Well,
appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for having me.
yeah.
yeah, thank you, Ben. Appreciate your
Thanks, Ben,
time.
for coming on. Appreciate it.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Taking an hour out of his day on his anniversary. This guy's showing some grit.
Yeah,
I'll go
absolutely.
hear about it now.
All right. All right, Ben. Take it easy.
Later.
All right, folks. Enjoy the show with Ben. This is still recording, okay?
Yep.
Tune in next week, episode 9. Amazing stuff, like every week, guys. Like we appreciate you for coming on, throwing a comment, DMing me or Zach. I mean,
Yeah. Hit us up.
it
Tell us.
definitely it
Tell
means
us
a lot
what you
to
like.
us.
Tell us what you don't like too.
Yeah. Give us comments, criticism, Tell me I need a shave. Tell Zach his face is too dark. He needs better lighting. Whatever.
And I know I gotta get a better setup, but a work in progress. Once the
Every
prep
week.
center, once I secure the prep center and start doing that, I'll update my.
Do a massive cleaning in here.
Oh my God, dude. I
Get
don't.
the studio set up.
Yeah. If there wasn't so much like, yeah, I'm not gonna show. It's a mess.
I
But all
think
right, everyone, take it easy. Have a good week. Buy profitable stuff. We're out.
peace.
Peace.